Hello everybody and welcome to week 3 of English as a Medium of Instruction for Academics. I am Rob.
And I'm Mary.
And yes, thank you very much for the comments we've had. Lots of impressive participation, but I'll talk about that later. And I'll just hand over to Mary. Mary, what are your thoughts on this week?
Picking up from some things we said last week, the multitude of different aspects of teaching, lecturing in an EME context. We're thinking about the content of our lecture, perhaps our language. We're thinking about the organisation, signalling the different sections of our lecture, our body language, our slides. Are we being clear enough, etc., etc. All of these different things going on, considering our behaviour, our style of teaching, our organisation, and so on. So what we're really trying to do here is not impose any kind of template on EME teaching. That's not at all our intention. We're just raising these issues for you to think about so that you're empowered to make your choices and you feel strong in that. But at the same time, you're flexible enough to be able to bring about changes in your classroom teaching. You are the reflexive practitioner that we talk about, that you don't just do the same thing every time, but you care about your students, care about their learning, and you want to tweak all the different aspects of what's going on in the classroom so that it really puts them in the best situation for learning. So there isn't a template. What there is your personality. And this is ultimately what we want to shine through in your teaching. We want you to be confident that you're aware of these little things that perhaps need to be adapted. But you are you. Your lectures are not dominated by your PowerPoint slides. I mean, PowerPoint slides, your presentation slides are very, very, very important. But we don't want to hide behind them. We just want them to be the background to our teaching. And we never included that lecture given by Stephanie as a model as such, but just something to reflect upon, as she shows some good aspects we would consider of teaching in an EME context. And at the same time, we weren't really showing Adam up as being a bad teacher, because he probably was a very, very fun teacher, and he was acting, remember, at the time, in that we did ask him to do all of those things that were not particularly good facets of effective teaching online. So that's really what I want to say, and just the sheer lack of choice that you might have where you're teaching. The physicality of the room that you're in perhaps conditions what you can do. Anyway, over to you, Rob. I know that there are things that you want to say, so if you want to run with a few of those ideas, I'd be delighted. Okay, over to you.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, I think the interesting things for me, were very similar and tied into that. I think a big part is identity, kind of linked to what you were saying about personality, but we're looking at who you want to be to your students, and that sometimes comes across as much more powerful than like what's the procedure you go through, or what are the best phrases. Phrases are useful, structure is useful, these bring clarity, but there's this other human dimension to teaching which comes, as we said last week, before, during, and after the class. And that example, I remember, people have said, like, in a bad lecturer might come in late, But then, as you said, in your institutional context, you might be forced to come in late. You know, you might finish a class on one end of the campus and have to go to the other end of the campus. I've done it myself. But again, yeah, but how do you prepare your students for that? If you know that's a constraint within the context, can you create a learning culture? Can you be somebody who creates a culture of understanding that you're operating with constraints? Could they be doing something before you enter the room, so you're not just walking in and they're waiting for you to upload slides? Could you preload the expectation that the class will properly start at 10 minutes past the hour, but they're doing something different for the first 10 minutes? So again, it's really, it's management of expectations, and it's identity management. I think it's being, I liked what some people said, you know, it's about being seen as a good educator, as somebody who cares for students' best interests. And can you manage that within the environment? And we all have constraints and can't do all the perfect things you see in a teacher's guidebook. So that was one thing. I think the other thing is that the quality of comments, and again, we'd encourage you to interact with each other. And one way we've designed the MOOC, or tried to design the MOOC, is that, you know, we're giving some insights, but we really welcome you to come in with your own insights, with your own expertise, your own experiences, and your own contextual knowledge, whether it's as a student or as a teacher. And I think it's great to see people engaging with that. Lots of interesting ideas. I'll highlight Ronald in particular as someone who's brought in loads of insights, and not in a very long, convoluted way, but, you know, really giving some valuable insights. And Mary Spratt, not you.
Oh, sorry.
But Mary Spratt, I think makes some great points in a very, very, very concise way. So, like, very short comments, but very valuable for what we're talking about each time. So I think, again, it shows there are different ways to communicate, different ways to engage, but lots of interesting insights coming in. And I'm glad we've invited you to give your input and your experience. And I think it's more valuable to see each other. So do try to read each other's insights as well, particularly in areas of interest for you. Like if you're somebody who uses presentation slides a lot, you might want to focus on that area. And then if you're interested in other areas, you can go to those. But thank you very much. That's just what I wanted to say, Mary. And yes, and well done. Do keep going. We will see you again in week 4. And again, if you go to the video step, it would be really useful if you could put questions there. You will have done all 4 weeks of the MOOC by then. And we really like it if people propose challenging questions or scenarios that you're in, where you'd like our advice or our insights from having spoken to lots of people in lots of different contexts. We'd welcome any challenges or questions in week 4 video step, and we will try to engage with those next week. Do you have anything to add to that, Mary?
No, just, you know, thank you very much indeed for all of your input so far. Just keep on doing it, and we do look forward to questions that you might want to discuss with us next week. Absolutely.
And thank you for the good examples as well, that we enjoyed those. So fantastic. Thank you very much, and see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.